I was involved from the beginning, kicking and screaming initially for the first few years. I was a graduate student at Cornell under Professor Frank Kozakowski, the founder of ACS. Very early in 1983, when Cozy, which is the nickname we all had for him, that we wouldn't speak in his presence, Cozy called a meeting of his graduate students and postdocs and visiting scholars. He handed out this press release, just handed out and said, "Read this, guys, and what do you think about it?" And I was dumbfounded at this press release about the creation of a new grassroots organization called the American Cheese Society. Kozakowski was absolutely world-renowned scientist and sort of a godlike creature in the cheese science world at that point.
He was very brilliant, well-traveled with cheesemaking, and he had this real steadfast vision that people could get together and help each other. I've heard it said they probably thought that all of us youngsters were a little bit nuts at the beginning, but we worked hard and it paid off.
Because I was a graduate student, along with my fellow classmates, we were all drawn into the formation of that first ACS meeting at Cornell in 1983.
After Frank put the conference together, that first one, he sent us the brochures and we sent them out to our customer list. So when we went to the first conference, there was 125 people, and there was a lot of people who we had never met before but had been customers of ours through the cheesemaking world.
It was a very successful meeting, that first meeting, and much to my amazement and my disappointment, I thought this was going to go away because I was a busy graduate student, and I didn't want to waste my time with these idiosyncratic goats people and little hippie ex-hippies basically. To get the ACS off the ground, he essentially assigned a couple of officers from amongst his graduate students. I became the vice president. I was assigned that. It created placeholders to allow the cheesemakers and the retailers who would come to that first meeting to begin to get organized. It's a very hard thing, creating a society. But you need to start somewhere. And he had the wisdom to put a structure into place through coercion initially. And he could get away with it. What could I do? Frank Kozakowski had a good friend and colleague in Professor Dick Klein at Rutgers. He was a senior professor and had been around for a long time, and became very interested, very, very passionate about working with Cozy to help this fledgling organization get off the ground. There was, I think, a smaller group than the first year. Some of the non-academic leaders really began to step up to the plate. You're relying on volunteers at that point. You don't have a dues structure. There's no money. There's nothing. It's just passion. Just love, and love can only go so far initially. And so you need some infrastructure, and that was where Cozy and then Dick Klein, I think, really played a key role. And I never had a chance to tell them this, which I regret, because I didn't really come to realize their contributions until much later. But they did a wonderful thing for this country and for the society, I think.
Because of the academia world, we ended up in Bird in Hand the next year, and my husband Bob and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a cheesemaking competition? People jumped in probably the next year, helping with that. And we also had out of that competition the first mini cheese festival, where in the back room we cut up cheddar and stuck it on toothpicks and little pieces of pineapple. And then thought, wouldn't it be a great idea to auction off some of the cheeses and raise a little money? Boston was our first large going out into the world venue. And we actually hired a PR firm to do the publicity for that, so we got a lot of press coverage for that conference at the cheese festival that we had. It was a very large cheese festival. We had somebody even come down from Canada to make cheese on the Boston Commons. So passerbys could, have a little cheese show. There was a number of years when people didn't think that the society would last. Didn't happen for a year and a half. I think there was little glitches here and there. One of the president's barn burned down, so he kind of wasn't the president anymore, and another person got in and kind of absconded with the funds one year, and just little gory details along the side. But it seemed like whoever was the president, that's what the conference would be like, just whatever they wanted. And then we got to a board and, more people helping out. There's hundreds of people that work behind the scenes at every single conference. We can cut cheese for 10 hours a day and nobody will really know that it's happening. It all just gets done. So there could be glitch after glitch after glitch behind the scene, but when the people flow in the doors, no matter if it's a beginning conference or it's a conference today with over 800 people, nobody knows it. They just all see the wonderful programs that happen, and everybody has a really great time. I don't think anybody goes home from here disappointed.